Chief Washington correspondent Peter Cook just spoke with Florida Congresswoman and head of the DNC, the Democratic National Committee, Deborah Wasserman Schultz. And also joining us as well is Joe Watkins, who is a Republican strategist. But Peter, you just spoke with Wasserman Schultz. Tell me some of the highlights and what she said about this coming lawsuit by the GOP.
Well, you know, it's really interesting, Betty, this lawsuit, all the talk of impeachment as well. Democrats have been really critical of Republicans for even introducing this lawsuit, for raising the possibility of impeachment proceedings against the President of the United States. At the same time, they have used both those threats to raise money, to rally their base. To some extent, these issues have helped Democrats heading into the November election. They may not like all the talk, but it is helping them, and they have actively used it to raise money. I asked her a little bit about that. Hope to hear some of those comments in just a moment. But again, she's the chair of the Democratic National Committee. She's very critical of what House Republicans are doing. At the same time, the DNC, the DCCC, the fundraising arm for House Democrats, and even Senate Democrats' fundraising arm, using what the Republicans are doing, at least trying to their advantage come the fall.
Well, Joe, let me bring you in on this. So Democrats say this is some sort of Republican stunt, and it's helping them.
Well, it's not a stunt. What it is that Republicans just want to make sure that that the voters remember, especially as we head into the fall elections, that we still are saddled with the Affordable Care Act, Obamacare, as it's known by many Americans. And a lot of Americans have been hurt by it. A lot of people who were told by the president they'd be able to keep their policy, their plan if they liked it, were disappointed to find out that that is not the case. And Republicans want to make sure that that Americans, as they go to the polls to vote, remember that. Remember, all politics are local. And people in local districts, House districts around the country are going to vote against Obamacare in the fall.
All right, hang on, guys, because, Peter, we do actually have a clip of your interview with Wasserman Schultz, so I want to play that for you guys now.
Well, it's certainly not the best thing to happen to the United States of America for the House of Representatives to be suing the president for the first time in history, particularly because we're suing the president. We'd be suing the president for doing his job. This is the do-nothingest of do-nothing Congresses. The Tea Party has a stranglehold on the Republicans, and we're not focused on job creation. We're not focused on investing in moving our economy forward. We're not focusing on health care or the environment or energy, climate change, global warming, nothing that's at the top of the American people's priority list. We are focused on doing everything we can, because of the Republicans' intransigence, on stopping the President of the United States from moving us forward. And it's unacceptable. And I think what will result is Democrats will do well in the midterms because they understand.
You think the Speaker could regret this lawsuit over time?
I think there's no question that Americans see that Democrats are trying, under Barack Obama's leadership and Democrats' leadership in Congress, to move our country forward on jobs and the economy and health care, and continuing to help make sure that we can build ladders to the middle class so that more people have opportunity. And at the same time, Republicans are suing the president, investigating Benghazi, trying to repeal health care more than 50 times. It's a pretty clear contrast.
A clear contrast, yet I talked to a lot of Republicans really confident about their chances going into this midterm election, not only holding the House, but also winning the Senate. Have you conceded that Democrats aren't going to win the House back?
I think we have a real opportunity to win the House back. I think we will pick up seats, and I think we'll hold on to the United States Senate because of that contrast. You know, at the end of the day, Peter, what I've seen all across the country and in my district in South Florida is that the American people just want to know who has their back. They want to know that on the issues that are important to them, having a job, having a roof over their head that they can afford, investing in education so that their kids have an opportunity to succeed, so they have an opportunity to succeed. They know that Democrats are focused on that as our top priorities. And what they see Republicans' top priorities are investigating the president, suing the president, doing everything they can to stop Barack Obama. And that's certainly a clear contrast that I think will result in Democratic victories in the fall.
This is a president with a 41% approval rating right now. Is he helping Democrats when it comes to the polls in November?
The president, as obviously the most significant Democrat, is always helpful. He's helpful because he is helping to make sure that contrast between our two agendas, an agenda that says we're going to put things that are nowhere on Americans' radar at the top of the agenda, that's Republicans, versus Democrats' agenda, which is jobs, the economy, health care, education, rebuilding our infrastructure so that we can make sure that we can continue to be the most significant global player economically.
Let me get you a look ahead at 2016. Hillary Clinton, there's some concerns out there expressed among some Democrats that she's headed to a coronation. Are you worried that that's going to take place? Do you think it would benefit Hillary Clinton to have a robust challenge at the primary level in the Democratic Party?
You know, I expect us to have a Democratic primary. Secretary Clinton obviously would be an incredibly strong candidate if she decides to run. We have other, very potentially strong candidates that may run. We're going to manage at the Democratic Party a credible, effective Democratic nomination process, which will result in our nominee being elected President of the United States in 2016.
There she goes, talking about Hillary Clinton and the Democrats winning and continuing to keep the White House. So, Joe, what do the GOP have to counter a possible Hillary run?
Well, we've got a lot of good candidates. It's still very, very early in the process. We're really focused on winning the House back in the fall of 2014, and then also winning the Senate, returning the Senate to Republican control. And then, of course, we'll have the issue of 2016, where we've got lots of great candidates. Chris Christie, of course. Jeb Bush is a great candidate if he chooses to run. We've got Rand Paul. And Paul Ryan, and maybe a governor or two. Maybe a governor or two might surface as a viable candidate. But we've got lots of good candidates.
But who would you put your money on?
I'd say right now that if anybody's a front runner, it'd probably be Jeb Bush. That Jeb Bush would have a great chance of, one, getting through the primaries, winning the nomination, and then being a really strong challenger to Hillary Clinton. And Hillary Clinton is all by herself on the Democratic side. I mean, there really is nobody comes even close. And right now, she looks very, very strong against all of our Republican candidates. But we think that as time goes on, we have a great chance to win back the White House in 2016.
Well, and we don't know who might pop up on the Democratic side alongside Clinton. But, Peter, she was saying about winning back the House for the Democrats. Is there any chance of that at all?
You talk to almost every Democrat I talk to up on Capitol Hill, and they don't see much of a chance for that. She's the head of the DNC. She has to be optimistic. They have raised a lot of money, but I don't hear a lot of House Democrats privately saying they think there's a realistic chance that they need to make up 17 seats. So it's a tall order. They're paying attention to the Senate, and that's where the big focus is, Betty. Those races in the Senate that could decide the balance of power in Washington. Going to be a close call there. Democrats feeling somewhat confident they can hold out, but I see Republicans also feeling very good about their chances in the fall.
And Joe, the big key for the GOP to win the Senate would be what?
Well, of course, you have the energy issue, the pipeline issue in states like Colorado and Louisiana that really matters and that may give us a real shot to win some Senate seats where it may not be expected. And then also the Affordable Care Act, and then the general economy. When you have Democrats pushing anti-inversion legislation that would hurt companies, at a time when we're trying to put people back to work, Republicans feel like we have a real strong case to make to Americans. When Democrats say well, of course, they want to keep jobs here, and we want to keep jobs here as well. But at the same time, you've got to not do it by punishing companies. You've got to make it possible for companies to make a profit, to return a profit to their investors, and as a result, to hire more Americans. And likewise, you have to consider the fact that even though unemployment is going down, the workforce participation rate really tells the true picture. There are a lot of people that aren't participating in the workforce. There's a lot of sluggishness yet in the economy.
Well,
Republicans want to put Americans back to work.
Betty, the wild card here, to some extent, is the economy. You saw the GDP number this morning.
Yeah, I was just
Question is it improve enough to make any difference in the fall in November?
That's right, 4% growth at least. Okay, guys, thank you so much. Chief Washington correspondent Peter Cook, also Republican political analyst Joe Watkins.